Hi everyone, this is Jen, and I just want to say something about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's trial. They just had let's say, the closing arguments yesterday, and I think, why do I want to go live about this? It's because I have a lot of things to say, and to be very honest, I'm not a fan of Johnny Depp nor Amber Heard's. I don't even know Amber Heard. I've never seen her before until the trial, and then I tried to watch the Rum Diary movie, which you can watch, by the way, on YouTube. And I watched the movie, and Amber Heard, like, she's beautiful. She is really beautiful, but she lacks that kind of charm. I think that's one thing I saw, but maybe because I saw her after the trial, maybe that's why I reacted that way when I was watching the Rum Diary. And second, I tried to watch Aquaman. I didn't really like the movie, but when I tried to watch Mira for the movie Aquaman, I don't think like they really had chemistry. She was so tough. She looked like a big sister to um, Jason Momoa. So, as a reaction to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's trial, I really would use English as the language here. So, I hope you guys would understand. And I am a life coach here in Taiwan. So people are asking me different kinds of things, including family problems, relationship problems, and all of the above. So I believe I have this social responsibility to say something about this domestic violence, because like there are a lot of people who are um, victims of domestic violence. To be very exact, here in Taiwan, they're like one out of five wives being a victim of domestic violence here. So that was report that was written last year, and we don't know now. And according to my friend from Singapore, like, a lot of domestic violence towards women does happen due to the stay-at-home guideline because of this pandemic. So there are so many things to talk about, but perhaps let me try to make you all understand, because I will be posting this live on my YouTube channel, that's on Chini channel, and my videos about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard got high reactions from our friends all over the world. And I think this is also very relatable to the Filipino people. Why? Because there are a lot of, let's say, victims of violence in the Philippines, and not only females, as well as male. Now, let's talk about how it started. And, it was really a surprise when I got kind of like scrolled to the live of Law and Crime YouTube channel. I didn't follow that video, but I think maybe because it was really trending on that day, so I was able to witness the first day of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial up to the end, up to yesterday. And it was like part of my, let's say, evening pastime. Now, what really interests me to talk about this? Well, perhaps first, I'm a life coach. I have a lot of questions from our Filipino friends. Well, of course, Taiwanese friends too, regarding relationships, family, and domestic violence. That's for one. Number two, I am really into about relationships, and I'm really into about professional way of settling problems and how to really deal with stuffs like that matters in with legal matters. So I want to learn, and this is also the best way for me to learn and improve my English, since I've stopped studying for like decades. So I really need to improve myself, and one way to allow me to enhance my English capacity is to watch movies like this, or like videos like this that would allow your brain to function in a way that it's not normal to how you really speak in your usual way. So that's the second reason. And the third reason is that I think it was last year or the other year. See, I forgot already. I'm really that old. I was being sued by a very malicious intent. I had been a victim of cyberbullying, and it was because of my political stand. Since 2015, I've been very vocal to my support to the president now in the Philippines. That's President Rodrigo Duterte. That's gonna finish his term soon by June next month. And my Facebook was deactivated several times. And until 2020, my Facebook was terminated. And I believe it's because of the political reason of Facebook. So I decided to just let go of that social media platform. Although I still have my Facebook page, which you all guys can search. It's Hello Phil Thai TV. But then again, you can find me here anyway and on my YouTube, so it doesn't really matter if you follow me on my page. And I also have my own website. That's www.everydaywithjen.com. Now we have a question from Indigo Skateb. Indigo Skateb. Okay. Ma'am, how about war on Ukraine and Russia? I have a very different kind of perception towards Ukraine and Russia. Well, just like what the American government was doing right now in Taiwan, they're trying to ignite the war between Taiwan and China. So it happened in Ukraine and Russia. So for me, my stand is, I hope the government of United States of America would stop meddling to other countries, because I don't think that we are already for me, we are not a colony anymore, and we all have our sovereignty. Good evening, Sarambi. And it's very important for every sovereignty to respect other territory. Now, when we say sovereignty, it's a piece of land. It's a geographical area where it has its freedom to govern its own country, its own territory, its own people. So I believe U.S. government really had crossed so many lines already for how many years now when we talk about war. And they start with pushing someone or the government that we will support you, and then after giving the support they will back down, and afterwards it's going to be too late for that country to settle, since they already started the war between, or the friction between, the other country. So that's it. So first it started with the Marites style of USA. Now, second, well, I don't think it is really good for a leader to have, such basis for popularity as the best, let's say, way to win the hearts of the people. Like, even if you are a celebrity, even if you're very popular, but I don't think it's good enough to govern your country. You must be well aware of the foreign policies so that you will respect all the other territories. Now, Ukraine definitely crossed the line. Definitely crossed the line. There was this treaty mentioned by China, and I forgot. I kind of talked about it somehow, and I forgot where. But it's a treaty wherein Ukraine would really respect the line between Russia and Ukraine, and it's about NATO or NATO. Now, when they tried to join NATO, it would mean that the very thin line that separates Ukraine and Russia would be invisible, and that would allow the NATO to get in Ukraine and most probably, of course, terrorize Russia, which was considered to be one of the, let's say, antagonists in the country all over the world. But I don't think Russia is the problem. Because if they are the problem, they would probably attack so many countries already, but they didn't. For so many years now, what country has been involved to many wars? Tell me. And that's the United States of America. So I have nothing against Americans. I'm just talking about respecting the sovereignty of every territory, including the Philippines and Taiwan. So to get back, someone is asking, Rizal is asking about our topic. It's about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, but I got a question about my stand towards Ukraine and Russia. So that was just a bit of my stand, and I really do apologize if I'm speaking in English because I wanted to share a really important thing about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and this is my perfect time because it's Friday, it's my fly day, so I have a lot of time to pour my heart out because I really didn't feel so good about how the closing arguments ended yesterday. I really wanted to say something about it because it really is so relatable to my Filipino friends. So I wish that you would learn something out of this. So from Mira Luna Lai, ma'am, na ako'y pangutana ma'am, if muuli ma'am ba og Cebu ma'am ni jud mi agi og Manila? Mira Luna, that's a very good question. We have international. Well, the question of Mira Luna is this: are they obliged to get back to Manila if they wanted to pass through Manila if they want to get back to Cebu? Well, I would for what I've known, Cebu has an international airport, and in fact, Cebu has opened its tourism since last year, but it's not that global yet. And I heard the what was her name? Governor. What was her name? I forgot her name. The governor talked about opening the global tourism by April, so that was last month. Now, for your question, Miss Mariluna, I think if you are taking an international flight that's via Cebu, I think it wouldn't be a problem, as long as, because the husband of my friend went back to United States of America just last month, and he came back after a month, so that's this May, and he flew to Cebu. So I don't think it's necessary for you to pass through Manila to get back to Cebu. Now you just have to clarify that there's this one health pass. Just be sure that you have those within 48 hours because that's very important. I hope I answered your question. Now if you have more clarifications, please feel free to send me a message on my page, Hello Phil Thai TV. And I apologize if I'm speaking in English since this is really live for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Now for the next question from Alpha 722. Good eve, ma'am. Nakita ko naman live mo. Oh, that's great to know. Now let's continue about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Now, at day one, what was the issue there? To be very honest, I've never known that. You're welcome. I've never known that Johnny Depp was an abuser, was a wife beater until I heard it from my own husband. Like we were watching some of his old movies, like The Pirates of the Caribbean, which is one of my favorites. So I said, what happened? Can you tell me? And then he said, because he kind of abused his wife. So I said, okay, well, that's pretty bad because well, it's okay. It's let's for me, I think it's always so normal for a man or a husband to be violent to the wife, right? It's our stereotype. Like when we talk about domestic violence, it always refers to the guy hitting a woman. So it's always like that. So from Alpha 7 2022, tatanong ko lang po sana madam yung bago kong broker ayaw ibigay yung bago kong kontrata. Why? Why? That's a big problem. If this is the case, first you search Google the nearest labor office in your area. So for example, if you're from Taipei City, you search the nearest labor office to Taipei City. Don't call 1955 because they act too slow. You're gonna run out of time. You're gonna be illegal here if you wait for 1955 to act on your case. So you go to the labor office and then you complain about your broker. And for sure, the labor office will really act upon it. Really. Why? Why do I say so? Because I gave this advice to many of our Filipino friends and they didn't come back to me. So that means the problem was settled. So you go to the labor office immediately, you go there, you don't call, you just go there and ask for help. That would be the best solution to that kind of problem. And the broker has no right to do that to you, to hold your contract, except if you have done something like a violation to the contract or to your company. Okay, I hope I answered your question, Alpha 7 2022. So to continue, in the Philippines, I don't think violence only happens to women. Men are also violated. When I was growing up, I think in my neighborhood, I saw husbands beaten by their wives. So when I get to see this trial, this really high profile trial here online on YouTube, Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, I was like, wow, it's pretty cool to see. I think it's pretty unusual because you don't get to see a celebrity, a super famous guy, being a victim of domestic violence. So perhaps in their country it's new, but for me as a Filipino, I think I could relate to that. Because as I have said, I have seen a lot of husbands being beaten by their wives in the Philippines. So sabi ni Alpha 7 2022, okay madam, kasi ako pa tinanong kung ba't ko daw need kontrata ko. Salamat po. A contract is very important, so that's why you really have to go to the labor office immediately so that threats and abuses like this will not happen anymore. Just like Johnny Depp, you must speak up. Now, again, thank you, Alpha 722, for the question. Now, I want to continue about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I hope you guys would really listen to this, and if you are a victim of violence, then you must watch this. So, you're welcome. At day one, I think Johnny Depp wasn't sure how the people would react. Now, he looked so troubled. He looked untrimmed, like his hair was like anywhere. You know, it's like a bad hair day for Johnny Depp. His face was so gloomy and it was like a hopeless kind of facial expression. So during the first trial, they tried to educate the public, the jury, and the people inside the court how Johnny Depp was nurtured as a child. Now, for me, why is this so important to the Filipino people, for my Filipino friends? Because we thought whatever happens at home doesn't affect our children. For instance, we thought that, well, I know it's for, how do I say this without offending anyone? I know we wanted to go abroad because we wanted to provide for our family. That is if you're single. I think it matters the most when you're single, because you have nothing to be very afraid of when you're away. But if you're married, it's a different story. You are absent during the nurturing of your child. You are not present during the times when your partner really needed you the most. So, it really pains me the most to understand the situation of my fellow Filipinos to work abroad and be very willing to leave their kids to their grandparents or their partner to be able to sustain the family. I understand that. But when we are building up a child, not knowing the whole image of a mother or the whole image of a father, that really affects the growth of the child, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and all the aspects, really, as a human being. Now, Johnny Depp, according to his testimony and his sister, grew up to be in a family where he saw his mother beat his dad. So there is violence inside the home. It's an obvious violence towards them and their father, but it's like unescapable, because whatever it may be, she is his mother. Now, let's talk about this kind of situation. Now, if you are Johnny Depp, you are being abused verbally, physically, emotionally and mentally by your own mother. Would you rather help your mother and situate her in her last days, or just leave your mother alone, your abusive mother alone? No, the typical Filipino mentality would be, I don't care about my mother anymore. Like, she abused me, and that ended our relationship. Many of our Filipino friends would think that way, but Johnny Depp didn't. He supported her until her last breath. So from this thing alone, from this situation alone, you would know that he has this good heart. He allowed the abuse to be his inspiration to have a better life, so he doesn't have to endure, that kind of environment. So I think I respect the family. I respect how people are, nurture their own family, how they handle their own family, but violence really affects the child. And the scary thing is, like, for a daughter, the daughter will look for a man that's almost the same as her father. And the same thing with the son, that would be very attracted to almost the same, characteristics with his mother. Why? Because it's the image. They would try to, like, in their subconscious, they would allow it because that's how they grew up. Supposing in a Filipino family, we call this term as martyr. Like, the mother would definitely stay because it's for the kids, but then the kids would be able to see a lot of violence every day, anytime, and that affects the growth of the child. Again, same as I've said, the child will look for that kind of father. and that characteristics of that father would be seen to the guy that she would be attracted with, she would be in love with. So what kind of parent you are, what kind of mother or father you are, really is so important for the future of your children. So for so many Filipino friends now that are far from their own children, what kind of background would your child look for a guy, or for, for a woman? Can they really find a good man? Can they really find a good woman, knowing the fact that they didn't have enough foundation of what kind of man she should fall in love with? Being a parent for like 10 years now, almost 10 years now, I must say that the first love is really from the father to his daughter, and the mother to her son. That's the love, true love, that you can teach to your children. That would be very essential in looking for a partner when they will be at their age to find a partner. So perhaps, I don't have the right to say this, but this is just my opinion. Perhaps this is also one reason why a lot of kids now who are, in the Philippines are allowing this trial marriage at an early age. They get pregnant at an early age, and they get to change partner from one to another, and they allow this to happen to themselves, and they don't care about the sanctity of commitment, and they thought it's okay to just change one partner to another. But once you put your life to another person, it's like splitting your soul to another person and to the other, and imagine what else would be left in your heart. The most important thing in life is to have peace in our heart. So for Johnny Depp, who tried to speak for the truth for himself, I think it's courage, I think it's bravery to face the whole world about this. And I am not a fan for Johnny Depp or Amber Heard, so I am speaking of my own opinion and for my Filipino friends, because I have almost the same questions over and over again. Now, the closing statement really alarmed me, because the argument was this: domestic violence doesn't only refer for Amber Heard's team. They kind of changed the exact definition of domestic violence. They expand the definition, the description, to emotional abuse, verbal abuse, and all the others. So they tried to convince the jury that with all these kinds of abuses, if Johnny Depp did even just one time towards Amber Heard, then that makes Amber Heard win the case. Now, let's talk about first abuse, that's verbal abuse. In a relationship, I think it's pretty common, not only to Filipinos, but to all the couples in the world, to verbally abuse the partner. Now, what is verbal abuse? Now, let me speak of myself for a moment here. When I for the first few years of my marriage, I noticed that my husband, Leo, he speaks a lot of, like, let's say, bad words normally. And I grew up in a family that doesn't allow those words, even if it's for fun, even if it's cute, or even if it's okay for the society, for the community to speak those words, but my family didn't allow that because that's a bad word, so it's still a bad word. Now, I kind of like educate my husband to not really say those words because it's very offensive in my part. So, when we want to educate our partner not to be abusive verbally, you must also do the same. It's just like you can't disallow your partner to not curse you if you curse the other person. It doesn't work that way. So it's like, don't do unto others what you don't want others to do unto you. Now, you don't want to be verbally abused, then don't be verbally abusive. Now, with the case of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, they were both abusive to each other. The fact that they were both yelling to each other, I think that discredits Amber Heard's claim of verbal abuse from Johnny Depp. So I felt bad for Amber Heard and for her team because they kind of like belittle the jury. They think that the jury are children who can be like swayed by sugarcoating a situation. You know, for me, this is also very common to many Filipinos. Like, I've seen a lot of TikToks here, and I am very much alarmed and concerned about so many Filipinos now, especially young women, who allow themselves to speak bad towards other people, to say these words that are very unpleasant to the ears. Like, for them, they thought it's cool, but it isn't cool. You know, one time I was trying to have some Bible sharing with my kids. We saw something in the Bible that said, if you commit a sin, if you allow your heart, your door, you open your door to commit a sin, and you allow the sin to get into your life, into your heart, into your body, into your soul, you will be punished 7 times. So it's like this. If you abuse a person verbally, your child would probably be abused, and the child of your child, and the child of your child, and for 7 generations. And can you imagine that? But is it possible to cut that curse of punishment? Yes. By controlling yourself not to speak those words. So again, I feel bad for Amber Heard, really. And the same thing with Johnny Depp. Because you can't just say, I am verbally abused, and at the same time you abuse the other person. So they're both are abusive to each other verbally. So for me, with regards to the closing statement or argument of Amber Heard's team, I think that demerits their claim. For me, if I'm part of the jury, I would say there must be like, basis in this. Now, second, they were trying to speak and emphasize about freedom of speech. Now, this is really very emotional to me with regards to freedom of speech, because my freedom of speech in Facebook has been terminated for almost 2 years now. And I've never done anything wrong. I received a notification about a violation that I was a minor on Facebook. I'm like 40 now. How could I be a minor? Can you imagine that? So, it really pains me when people are trying to abuse their right of free speech. Because once you demean other people, once you hurt other people, that really take away your right of free speech. You can speak whatever you want to as a person, but if you hurt someone, especially if you ruin other people. You don't have the right to claim that. Now, when I was like in elementary school, and we were asked to write so many essays, and I was a part of the school publication, it was really important for us to write our name as the author. And it's really important for us to write our own article and never copy from other people, because once we are known to have like plagiarism, then we would suffer the consequence. Now, in terms of Amber Heard and her op-ed, it really is like her article, since the author and the name was written there was her own, the name Amber Heard. And when I was in my elementary years, if it's your article and your name is written there, then you are responsible for that. And you can't say it was just my name, but I did not write it. We don't have the right to say that. Good evening, Van. I don't know if you agree with me. I'm pretty sure if you're from the Philippines, and I even come from public school, I think we have the same education with regards to writing your article, that you must write your name, and then if you try to quote other people, you have to write their names as well, the references of those articles, so that you won't commit plagiarism. So this is really very upsetting, because how unfair law is. If somehow Amber Heard is poor and she has no millions to pay for a trial, most probably she would be guilty for long. And the trial won't last for how many weeks just to prove that she's not guilty of defaming Johnny Depp. I think it's like a circus in that trial. So, one, for me, I disqualify them both for verbal abuse. Number two, I disqualify Amber Heard from free speech. Why? Because we have basis according to the witnesses and her own story. Now, allow me to highlight the most important thing that would really prove to you that what she claimed to be a public person that represents domestic violence and sexual violence is this. Every time a Filipino friend here in Taiwan would ask me, what will I do if my husband hit me? What will I do if my colleague or co-worker hit me? What will I do if my boyfriend would hit me? My first advice is you go to the nearest medical clinic. You go to the hospital. This is what you should do. You have to get that medical records. So you say clinics are closed, then there's 911 or 119. You go to the hospital. Okay, you go to the hospital. That's 24 hours to go to the emergency. And then there's a policeman in Taiwan. There's a policeman there. They're always there 24 hours to be able to assist anyone that needs their assistance, for the police and legal assistance. So if you're being hit by your husband or your wife or your boyfriend, girlfriend, or your colleague, which, by the way, there are a few friends here in Taiwan, working here in Taiwan, who asked me about what should they do if their colleague committed a physical violence towards them. So I really told our friend to go to the emergency ASAP right after the incident and get a medical record. Why? Because the doctor would see first, there might not be bruises. Let's say maybe it's just a slight hit or a slight grasp on the wrist, right? It might be just a little grasp there, but it would be tight since it's abusive. So the policeman would see you, how you were reacting. They would see like maybe some redness somewhere or scratches somewhere, you know, on your body. That would prove that you are a victim of abuse. Now, if you didn't go for a medical record, especially after an assault, especially sexual assault, that's far from reality. Like, my God, if you are sexually abused, why not go to the doctor and then have that one, you know, checked, get the medical record so you can like sue the person if you feel really that you are being abused. That's one thing there. So another, she claimed to be a victim of domestic violence and sexual violence, right? Another thing, there were no bruises. Like, how come a makeup can really fully cover the bruises and cuts like here on the nose and on the eyes? If it can't even cover totally the pimples, like see this is a pimple. If it can't even cover up a pimple, how could it cover up in totality the bruises there? That's quite severe. Since from Amber Heard's testimony, Johnny Depp really wears big rings around here on his hands, like almost on a daily basis. So if you hit someone, probably it might not be really severe, but due to your huge rings, there must be a scratch there, right? But there are really photos that could prove that her face was perfect. She was stunning. She was beautiful. And in fact, right after submitting a TRO and getting a TRO, she was photographed laughing. That is not a victim of domestic violence. You know, the facial expression, your lifestyle, that really matters if you are a victim. And that is a big slap to the real victims of domestic violence if the jury would allow Amber Heard to get away from this. I don't think it's really fair. You know, just like what happened in the Filipino society. More often, we see mothers being beaten by their husbands, and we would say, you have to stay. Because you're married, you have to stay. Even after beating up, and even if you have a lot of bruises right there, you still have to stay. I don't think it's good for the person and for the kids. For as long as there is violence there, you should never allow that. Remember, I think it's a big issue in the Philippines when it happens to two celebrities, right? And then the face of the girl was totally unpleasant. There were a lot of bruises there. So I think that's how a victim of violence look like, and no amount of makeup could cover that out in just a day. So I think what happened in the closing argument is so unpleasant, knowing that they were trying to use and overuse, I think, freedom of speech to just allow Amber Heard to get away from this. It's something, right? And it's so relatable because now that a lot of ladies are allowing themselves to be with the guy even prior to marriage, you call that trial marriage, especially here in Taiwan. You know, I have seen a lot of couples who are living together, not yet married. I have nothing against that, no offense, but I just feel by allowing yourself to be with the person unmarried, you like opened a gateway of possibilities in your relationship. Like perhaps soon you will get hurt and soon you will break up. Why? Because there's no commitment. one big reason why uh, a lot of ladies in my time were taught by our grandparents to really wait. Don't just jump into someone. You have to wait for the good guy. Not the right guy, but the good guy, the best one. You know, it's because our grandparents are trying to teach us the importance of commitment, that it's a lifetime vow between a man and a woman, and once you have your children, it's a lifetime responsibility to take care of those kids. Now, if we are too liberated to think that it's okay if my first marriage won't work, I will have second, third, and fourth, and then what will happen to your soul? You know, it's okay. Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with finding someone else, but it all boils down to yourself. Would you be peaceful? You know, allowing yourself to get hurt over and over again? Isn't that double punishment to yourself, not the other people? Why would you allow hurt to come into you? Unless you waited, right? Unless you tried to listen to your heart and, you know your Bible and understand that love is not begged. Love is free. And that love, if it's true, it can wait. Especially premarital sex. You know, it's so terrifying to think that a lot of kids now are trying to say and to show people that being naked on the photo is a new normal. Having premarital sex with my boyfriend is the new normal. Well, it all goes back to you. What will happen to yourself if you allow too many people to touch you? Not just the females, but the males as well. By being one with someone, that means sharing your soul to the other person. Can you imagine that? What if that person has a disturbed soul? What if that person is being possessed by a demon? You know, I think this is one thing that the new generation now should really consider. You should be very careful with the new normal. I would agree that wearing face mask, it's a nice new normal, but premarital sex, changing partners from one to another, that really is destroying humanity. And that is allowing our human race to be extinct. Because we are not raising people, we are like raising pigs. I'm sorry, this is really offensive, but we are not animals. We are rational beings. So why can't we wait? Why can't we teach our kids to wait? Now, if they have problems with their relationship, we would blame them. But how are we as parents? Did we teach them the importance of commitment? They would say that it's okay to have so many girlfriends or so many boyfriends, but that every person you allow to touch your hand, your body remembers it. Now let's talk about sexual abuse between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. This is one of her claims. I believe Amber Heard has no right in any way to claim that she is sexually abused. For one, there was no evidence. But second, when you allow yourself to join a threesome, a threesome, that is not normal. To engage in fornication, please forgive my word, but to allow yourself to be able to be in that kind of situation, that is sexually abusing yourself. The same thing with those people who were asking me, and this is my chance to really tell you frankly, there were there were like few women who asked me about masturbation. They said, is it okay for a female to masturbate? Same thing with the guys. And I would tell you, honestly, I was like tongue-tied. How would I tell you? In a very professional way. I don't want them to think that because I'm a Christian, I would say it's not okay. I should have a basis in this. So I said, for me personally, I would tell you that it is not good to do that. Now, I tried to research about it, and it's so horrible. It's so awful. It's so scary. Because once you touch yourself, you are allowing the demon to get into yourself. And those demons are scary. And they're really jealous demons. So when you get married, they will do their very best to tear your marriage, to break you apart. Because they cannot allow you to be with anyone else, to be with the person, to be happy, to be in love, to be with God, right? To be with God's plan. The demon wants you, which you allow to by touching yourself. So, again and again, it all goes back to your faith. And you cannot just blame your parents because faith is here. It's in our mind. So that made me really think that I really want to say something about this because the claims are so, for me, it's so unfair. For the verbal abuse, they're both abusive. For the defamation with regards to domestic violence, there is none because there are no evidences except from Amber Heard's story and from her edited picture. And third, the sexual abuse, there was no medical records about it. Imagine a bottle inside you. You must have some lacerations there, inside your genitals. But there were no medical records. If you are being abused and you feel like you are being abused, why don't you go to the police? My God, you are very assertive of your right because you are a public personality. People will surely give time to you and give you attention and listen to you. But why didn't you do that? You speak of abuse, but you don't take a picture of your wounds or your bruises. That's impossible, right? And apart from that, Amber Heard had sexual relations with females, sexual relations with males, and sexual relations together with a male and a female. Now, what else? What other kind of sexual abuse can she actually give herself? For me, I feel really bad for Johnny Depp. Really. Like during the trial, he saw James Franco coming into the penthouse, their house. And then another instance with Elon Musk, the very famous Tesla guy. And I saw one video here on TikTok that exposes Elon Musk. He's really fond of sex parties, and according to that news, allegedly Amber Heard joined those sex parties that Elon Musk was trying to, how do you call it, organize. So that was allegedly. But if the creator tried to show the articles about it, so he was telling everyone to really research about it, and maybe you can find that. So just search on Google Elon Musk issue sex parties, and you can see those reports. Yeah, so again, for me, if you are not sexually abusive to yourself, then you claim, and you can claim that by having all the medical records, so that you will have enough evidence to tell the world, to tell the people that you are abused. Why do we need that? Why? Because we have a court. Do you know why in the Philippines there are a lot of victims who cannot even win a case? Because they don't have evidences. They thought by speaking of it is enough, but it isn't. In the Philippines, when your perpetrators are rich and you are poor and you're raped, you can't win the case. if you don't have the evidence. Well, same thing with Amber Heard. See, she's influential, she has money. So Johnny Depp really had a hard time trying to prove to the court that she was defaming him. So that's a difficult part of this trial. We have a lot of things to learn from it. From being in a relationship, from nurturing a child, from being abusive to someone. It really comes from within. You should know that what you do to other people will really goes back to you. That's the law of karma. There is this wrong wrong perception of the Filipino people towards karma. They thought that someone did bad to them and karma will just happen to other people. No, it won't. Karma is your action. So what you did will come back to you. So if you did something good, it comes back to you. If you did something wrong, it comes back to you. So in many instances, if you did something wrong towards someone, that wrong deed will come back to you in an instant. Yeah, and sometimes several times, repeatedly, if you don't change, if you don't cut it, if you don't change the way or your characteristic as you are, if you are a bad person, or if what kind of person you are. So it really matters. Now, I think finally, we talked about, this is I think the last part of this live. We talked about the claim of free speech, the claim of sexual abuse, domestic violence, right? And the evidences. No, we talked about the lie. The lie. I felt like the team of Amber Heard were really great. They really did a great job. They can, every time they speak inside the trial, it really makes people think that Amber Heard is the victim. So I now know the reason why my father didn't want me to be a lawyer, because he told me you can't go to heaven because a lawyer is a liar. It's pretty hard for a lawyer to be able to have a client that's lying. I don't say that Amber Heard is lying, but with public opinion, people can see, and I can see it too. Perfect example was when she testified about Kate Moss. Kate Moss is so famous. She's a supermodel. And right after her name was mentioned during the trial, during Amber Heard's testimony, she helped Johnny Depp despite perhaps their differences because they were exes. She said Johnny Depp took care of her. She kind of like slipped right on the stairs and she didn't know what happened, and she felt like everything around her was in pain. And then Johnny Depp went back to like bring her and carry her to her room and gave her medical assistance. But to how Amber Heard tell the story, she was trying to change it, like Johnny Depp pushed Kate Moss on the stairs. So when Kate Moss tried to clarify this thing, she testified that Kate Moss was lying. Like everyone who testified for Johnny Depp was part of Johnny Depp's show. So I think if you are a victim of domestic violence, but you are this defensive and you are this kind of overthinker, like you think you're the only one person trying to tell the truth, I would agree to Camille Vasquez when she said she never accepts her wrong. She's always right. She always say that people will lie for Johnny Depp because he's powerful and they can like get something from him. That kind of mentality is so scary, and somehow it's very relatable to the Filipino people. Are you familiar with our Filipino negative values? One thing for sure is this colonial mentality. that really affects us for so many decades now, hundreds, hundreds of years since the colonization of Spain into our country. We tried to feel so enslaved by other people who are powerful than us. That's why President Duterte was trying to encourage us to be assertive of our right. But if we assert our right, people will try to demean you. Like, who are you? You know. So, the best thing that I've learned from this case while I was watching this trial is that domestic violence doesn't only happen to the women. It can and it does happen to men. So if you're a man and you're a victim of domestic violence, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, spiritual abuse, you can tell me. And I'm here to listen. I listened to one. He was verbally and physically abused by his wife. Now that they're separated, that person has become much better. The depression was gone. He wasn't like situated in one room alone and tried to be far from someone else's. He tried to get back his life, and now he's on his knees, back to where he should start, to be his own person. So I believe that no matter how intelligent you are, if you don't use it into the right kind of situation, it's just a loss. I mean, Amber Heard, she's so beautiful. I would say she's so beautiful. Her face is really attractive. Like, she has perfect face and she has beautiful skin. But then again, whatever beauty you project on the outside, nothing can really cover up the ugliness inside. So just like all the women out there, I really wish that you don't allow the new normal to be a part of your life. I hope you stop the cycle of premarital sex. If you really want to have a good man in your life, then try to wait. Yeah, really try to wait. That will help you a lot, because that's self-respect. If you give yourself respect, then people will give you the same respect as you give to yourself. So people will think, oh, I am belittled, I am discriminated. They say I'm cheap because I'm wearing sexy clothes. Well, yeah, it's okay to wear sexy in the right place. Like if you're on a beach, you can wear a bikini. But wearing a bikini and skimpy shorts inside the church, that's really something. You have to dress according to occasion, and you have to dress according to your age. That matters. Why? Because that is self-respect. And that is your responsibility to yourself. And this also applies to the men. If you want your lady to respect you, then also wear something that is respectable. Like, you go to her wearing slippers. What kind of respect is that to your partner? Remember, good shoes takes you to good places, great places. Now, if you're not ready, how can you go? So, there are a lot of things, a lot of really great learnings that we should all consider. Not because you're fanatic to Johnny Depp or you like Amber Heard, which I really don't care about their fandom. I am not a fan. I like Pirates of the Caribbean, but I am not a fan of anyone. I like the song, I like the movie, but not the people because it's just pure acting. You don't really have to idolize because idolatry is a big no-no to anyone who believes in God. I hope you remember that. So it's okay to say she's my idol, I admire her. It's okay to admire, but not to the extent that you go blind. You know, you still have to remember that you are a person of your own. You have your own mind, and I hope people would ever see this video and they would try to think about what's happening between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, that the jury would not be swayed just because Me Too. There's this Me Too idea that we should all believe women when they speak of violence. I think this is so unfair because, as I have said, when I was young, I saw a lot of men beaten by their wives. Hello, Dadayo Sayo. Dadayo Sayo. Wow. What an original name. Natsambahan din kita mag-live. Yay, of course. Di ka pa aantok po. Not much. Not much. I'm a little bit, but because I am hyped by this situation with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, so that's why I really apologize if I speak pure English. It's because I am trying to pour my heart into this kind of issue, since this is so relatable to all the Filipinos, because there are a lot of people who are victims of violence, even those who are not yet married. Even for a boyfriend and girlfriend situation, many really are suffering from violence, verbal abuse, sexual abuse, or like physical abuse, the worst one. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm staying a little up late right now. It's like 1 a.m. So I'm trying to say goodbye. Actually, it's like the last part of my life. Don't you have any questions before I go? And thank you guys for watching this live. You can have a replay of this on my Chini channel. Just search Chini, Chini channel. Yeah. Johnny Depp, yan yung sa Pirates of the Caribbean, diba? Absolutely. And that's the only movie I really watch with Johnny Depp, except for the Rum Diary, which I recently watched due to the Amber Heard circus in the trial. So I really watched that movie, and well, she has a beautiful face, of course, and I think for a straight guy to see that angelic face would be very attracted, and especially if you're wearing a red lipstick, that really emphasizes the shape of your lips, and I think red lips is really attractive. So yeah, napanood ko siya dun 4 movies. Yeah, of course, and there were like five already. Angelic face, nako, thank you. Thank you very much. But I would really prefer you say that when you see me in person. Any one of you saw me in person? Well, it's been a long time not joining the Filipino activities, especially when we had pandemic, because I really wanted to be safe. I have 2 kids, so I wanted to I wanted to keep the health of my family, so I'm not joining any Filipino organized activities. But then one thing that really upsets me with the Filipino activities that's happening in Taiwan is that I was also a victim of lies. Really, I don't want to say much about it, but sometimes honesty is the best policy. I think Filipinos should try to really change our colonial mentality. If we wanted to help, just help. That's it. So TikTok Zero is on break pero papasok na mamaya. Oh really? Oh, say hi to TikTok Zero. He's pretty active on my page. Thank you very much. Say hi to TikTok Zero. So anyways guys, again, I am Jen. I am the founder of Hello Philthai, the online Filipino media here in Taiwan since 2007. I have a Facebook page that's Hello Philthai TV Jen. I have a YouTube channel, the official channel of Hello Phil Thai TV. I have my alternate YouTube channel, that's Chini channel for everything under the sun, and you can watch this replay on that YouTube channel. And my official TikTok is this one, Hello Phil Thai TV. I also have a new Instagram account, and that's Hello Phil Thai IG. The reason why it's a new account, it's because all my Instagram accounts were terminated at the same time with my Facebook. So if you're asking about my Facebook, I don't have Facebook profile, personal profile. I'm on my page, and I also have my Hello Phil Thai forum, so you can guys share anything there. I don't censor posts unless it's being reported as a violation to someone else's rights. Okay, you can like share anything there, your travels and whatsoever, on my forum. It's open for everyone. That's what you call free speech, unlike those other Filipino groups where it's called travel, but when I posted my travel post, they like declined my post. Well, maybe because they just allow posts from their friends, but on my Phil Thai forum, you can post whatever you like, okay? For as long as you don't hurt anyone else. That's it. So, what else? So, hello Dadayo. Okay, hello Dadayo sa'yo, and to everyone who watched this live, thank you very much. And I think it's time for you guys to take a rest. I hope I'm gonna say more about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard officially on my Chini channel, so you just stay tuned. Good night, guys. Bye.